town on me.
He's like, whop, whop, whop.
You never know. I mean, they're a fickle bunch. Got it.
That was kind of messed up though, the customer, in my opinion. But
man, that was bad from the beginning. It really was. Like it was like written directives that had to be repeated over and over and over again on how to do the oil change. It was painful to just, yes sir, no problem. Okay, yeah, sure. We're done now. Okay, yeah, we're not going to do that. All right, we don't talk to each other like that. Have a nice day. Here's your keys. Like it just went down that road.
Thank you. Come again.
Yeah, no. Have a nice time.
Thank you. Don't come back.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Yeah, we'll not see you again.
Thank you. Don't come back, but please come back to hear the Power Stroke. Well, live stream now. Where'd my window go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, we got a full house tonight. We got sleep. Well, DS is always sleeping. He's here. He's with us, but he's in another realm. Big shout out. We got Rayman, Ford Boss, just getting off work. CP's packed and ready, and we got Jake up in the Northwest Territories here of the U.S. of A. Tom Jubb, what up? What up? Dude, it's gonna be excited. This guy right here. We got Banks, HSM, and what else are we doing? And the I dash. Freaking awesome. He's going all the way out. I like when you guys go down the playlist and just bop, 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 getting all the goodies. Skidoo. Hello. Barto, Bourbon, 22s. This guy's going to be happy. I want to talk about 22s. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Things happen, and I mean, it's we can't change that. But how we react to things, I guess, is a reminder of something I have to remind myself of. But when these trucks, we spend good coin for them, the last thing we want is something to be messed up. But I had the opportunity, unfortunately, to take the Vista track roof out of a brand new 2022 Lariat. All of the creature features on this one, and unfortunately, if you guys look in the short, unfortunately the seal around the rear of the back glass. So go look at your guys' trucks and pay real close attention. I don't know if this is something that was pertinent just to this truck or if they had a bad batch of windows, but the corners right here on the back glass, the seal was rolled down. And
stationary glass.
The stationary glass. What I wound up finding was the seal has a little channel it's supposed to sit in. That channel had one of the channel sides completely gone, so I see how that seal would have rolled right out. But unfortunately, to get that, the front glass, you can pop that out, take that right out. But the 22, I'm sorry, I looked at this guy's comment and said 22. The back glass, you have to drop the headliner, the track, and pretty much disassemble the whole roof interior of the truck and then take the glass out. Well, I do through the roof opening panel, because why wouldn't you? But come to find out, I had to replace the glass. And something that was also funny, and then you guys had good comments on the short I did for the sill plate. Dude's truck came with 3 of them, but didn't have the driver's side. It's like totally unusual, but nonetheless, I had never put those on. It is listed as a Ford accessory. This was the black chrome finish. I have them on my truck. I think it would be for the Lariat Ultimate or the Blackout package, maybe. Definitely cool. I've got that squared away, and I asked my coworker, if you guys remember, I had the King Ranch. Remember the King Ranch that I did the PDI on, or I went over the pre-delivery inspection process? That coworker actually had to set his clear vision. His steering wheel is off. Well, this customer is also complaining of that too. And I want to know, for you guys that are watching right now, I guess let's just say 20 and up. I'm not going to count the 19s and below, but just these new ones, 20, 21, 22. Are you guys, when you guys are taking delivery, I'm not saying you're doing anything to the truck, no lifts, no nothing right off the get. Just as soon as you get in the truck and drive, is your steering wheel straight? Is it off? Not too big of a deal to change. You don't have to put that on the alignment rack. It's simply adjusting the drag link, which is an adjusting sleeve, the drag link is 3 pieces and the adjusting sleeve is in the middle. That bar that goes up to the pitman arm is what you need to change and turn. Dual panel moonroof was a must for me. Must for you. A lot of guys didn't want them. That's another thing that a lot of guys didn't like.
They're very problematic.
Yeah, I mean,
One of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it.
I mean, it's I don't know. Yes,
They're-
congratulations.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I got a little issue with my 22.
Oh boy.
Drove it off the lot, got 100 miles, and already got a problem.
What do I got to fix now?
So you put it in reverse. Well, number one, the 22's got a cool feature. You hit the camera button while you're driving, shows you the bed of the truck. Hit it again, shows you the auxiliary camera. Pretty cool. Except I had a bump on the way home and the camera stopped working. It says contact the dealer. The camera's not working. So sometimes it works and sometimes it don't.
Sounds like pin fitment.
Sounds like it.
Doesn't surprise me one bit.
Ray loves sunroofs.
That's the rumor.
Sunroofs require some maintenance.
You did a video on that, didn't you, with the Motorcraft? Actually, I think I got.
No,
some
it's
over
not
here.
Motorcraft. I got some over here. It is a product that you can get from Ford Rotunda or Amazon if you're lucky. I got mine from Ford Rotunda. It's a weather strip lubricant. Comes in a small bottle. That's the one that you can use on all, like if your doors get noisy, then you can just put that on the door sills or the sunroof. Every like twice a year, you should do the sunroof. It's like a high performance lubricant and it comes with an applicator.
High performance.
Yeah, it's real expensive. These little containers cost like $50.
Smoke. 22
yeah.
F250. Emissions light come on for the second time, then went off. First time it was a Knox. Any ideas? That's tough. I'd need to see connected vehicle data. That's something we're going to talk about tonight. You guys with those FordPasses, big brother, you don't want it? Well, you guys are going to have a story that you might want to hear, because this is not only going to apply to your Super Duty, this is going to apply to your other vehicles too. So just stay tuned here. We'll be touching on that here soon. I don't open my Vista glass, just use it for the light. Interesting. I did forget about that. Would be a lot more light coming into the cabin. I wonder how many guys tint the Vista roof. Do you guys do that? I don't think I've ever seen one come in tinted. It'd be kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah, that is interesting. If you did that new ceramic tint to block out all the heat, 'cause that thing lets a lot of heat in.
Hey, somebody in the comments is wanting you to put a link for that high performance.
The Krytox?
Had to replace the control arms and the guts of sunroof mechanisms on my 2014 a PETA. Was it more of a PETA to do that, or was it a PETA to do your S&S? I mean, I kind of felt like I was there.
There's a couple different options to the Krytex too. If you don't want to spend the money for that, you can go to Napa and get Seal Glide, or you can get the older stuff. I think it's the old Ford. What do they call it? The louver window lubricant. The little small bottle with the small tip on it, and it's still expensive. It's like 20 some dollars a little bottle for it, but it comes out almost like personal lubricant. Like, and it's really slick, really gets down in the crevices and stuff. The stuff DS is using, it's like the newest stuff that they like to use, but there's other options as well. I've used Napa Seal Glide and got really good results out of it.
You know, the stuff that I
often should we
use,
do
the
that?
Krytox, is really expensive, but I used a weather strip lubricant for it, and it's not really too much money because it lasts you a pretty good while.
Yeah.
My bottle's still full.
How
The
often
key
should
to
you do
that-
that?
What was that?
How often should you treat those weather strips? 'Cause we have a 09 and we haven't
Couple.
touched those at all.
Well, does it make any noise?
No.
As mainly, so you said 09. I don't know about those. I know with the new twin panel moonroofs, it's more of an issue because I don't know if it's the way the design is, the way the seal, the sun and the weather and all that. It starts to stick. Like if you don't open it, like Cody said, if you don't use it, you lose it. When you don't open it, that seal becomes like glued. Then you go and open it, and the tracks are trying to pull the glass. It's got to pull it down, and it's got to go back. And instead of being able to just pull it, it's glued back shut, and it makes a loud crack. It might open, it might break something. So
We don't open it that far.
And it's
so-
not just. It's not
your
just the
09
opening
might
part
not
either.
even have an issue. And like for boss saying, you could drive it around, you never open it, and all of a sudden you start hearing rattling. And
It's the stationary rear part of it as well. Like even if you lubricate and clean the front and you keep that all clean and in check, and you don't at least get like an old towel or something that doesn't leave lint and stuff behind, like a microfiber and like a thin, almost like a Bondo, small Bondo putty spreader, and run it through that channel in the back and clean the rubber around those channels. You can have the front working fine, but when you're driving around, hitting little bumps and stuff like that, you'll hear it creaking and making little cracking noises where it's trying to settle in the channel where it's at, and it's not clean and lubricated. And the rear part that doesn't move will also make noise.
Okay.
yeah, this stuff's White Lightning Weather Strip Lubricant by Krytox. I like to use it. It comes with an applicator sponge. I use it on like my door seals too, and I still haven't ran out. It is expensive, but a little bit goes a long way with this product. What do you think, Ford Boss? What do you think about that camera issue?
I think like what Cody said, sounds like pin fitment, but they've also, for the last few years, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Ford has had camera problems. We've had issues where we went through like little spurts of Ford manufactured circuit boards and stuff like that, and bumps and overheating and things like that. We'll take them out, but it does sound like a pin fitment issue thing.
You mean,
I guess
so-
my
that-
stuff was muted. You guys didn't hear me talking.
No, we didn't. It was awkwardly quiet for about 2 seconds.
I saw this commenter here, D. Scott. He says he's got a 22 F-350 that's got a grinding noise after shutdown. Does it 3 times, kind of a rat, rat, rat. If you guys go look, 20 and up, the turbocharger actuator is now electronic. If you go look right past the EGR cooler and underneath the intake manifold, you're kind of looking at the middle of the engine on an angle, you can see the turbocharger actuator rod. Go have somebody shut your truck off or use your remote start, and we can't do it with the hood pop. But you'll be able to see that rod. And it's actually the actuator doing like a vane sweep before it does its before it sits there and shuts down. So it's totally normal. I've heard some be more louder. Some described it as a dead bird making noise as it's dying. Kind of weird. I don't know why some would be louder than the others. Maybe buildup of carbon. I don't know. Oh, look at all these here. Mini vent lube. Yep. Oh, 3.5 Eco Boost. Don't start talking about that. Poor boss isn't gonna like that. What's this guy say? Hey,
What
DS,
he's
this is
talking about
7.3.
what Aaron's talking about is I have one right now that I'm doing phasers on, and I got everything timed, everything put together, go to start spinning the engine over a few times just to make sure everything's settled and good before I slap the front cover on. And the tensioners are no good. They won't hold their tension in the outward position, and they keep popping in, which is allowing it to jump, the phasers to jump a tooth. And I'm like, man, you know, this is one of those things where you follow the SSM. It says it's not necessary to replace them. And you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I should have just ordered them and not followed it to the T and just put them in there anyway.
Is DS gonna fix his 450? It should be ready Friday.
Ooh. I thought about selling.
What would you guys do if you had to replace the frame on your truck? Would you keep the truck or would you get rid of it?
I'd drive it into the dirt.
Yeah, at that point, I'd probably just keep it, just for the simple
Dirty.
fact you've already lost so much money on it anyway.
I would
had the
drive
same
it.
Well, here's the
Very
deal.
nice.
Here's the deal. I bought this 7.3, so a truck's got to go. And I contacted the salesman and told him like, hey, one of these trucks got to go. How much is the 450 worth on trade-in? I'll just trade it in. And he, you know, trade-in, if you look at Blue Book, it's like over MSRP on that truck just for trade-in. And he ran the numbers. And I would get some money back out of it. But yeah, it's pretty, it says minor accident. On the report, it says a minor accident.
Minor?
Yeah, it says a minor accident.
Man,
And
you
I was
didn't have
like,
to replace a headlight bulb.
Well, it looks like when you see a picture of the accident, it looks like, oh, he's gonna need a bumper and a headlight and a fender maybe.
And a tire and a frame.
But
and a
I
bulb.
wouldn't say minor. The other car was totally wrecked, and the other person involved in the accident is like in the hospital. So I don't know where they got minor, but I'll take it.
Well, that's
but
what
the
you get for
thing-
pulling out in front of a car.
But
or
the
a truck.
thing about it, the guy, somebody was already trying to like put an offer in, and he said, well, the vehicle was towed. I'm nervous because it got towed. Well, I'm like, well, what the hell? What do you expect? They towed it. What does that mean to you? Says minor, but it got towed. So, you know, I don't know.
I would tell the salesman that he'll use that to sell it. Oh, only a minor damage.
That's what he said. The Carfax report says right now.
You might want to get that changed because I know you can get in serious trouble for that.
For what?
Even though they messed that up.
Get it changed to what?
That what actually happened because I know 'cause
I'm
my
leaving
friend,
it. I'm leaving it minor.
my friend, he got in trouble because he sold a car and according to the report, there's no airbags deployed, but the guy sold it and then they found out that airbags did deploy and the guy was able to take him to court for it. But
You know
he's
what?
like,
though?
I didn't do that.
Maybe that's why I'm minor, because my airbags didn't go off. So maybe they can get away with it. You know what I mean? Maybe the insurance company's like, we don't want any more
Ooh.
lost value. I don't know. I got nothing to do with it. You know, if it was more damage, I guess I'm not doing nothing. It's not on me. I didn't type nothing in the Carfax.
Why
On
don't
the
you
ride.
What? Get rid of the gasser? Just have the newer gasser.
Yeah. Well, because after having it for just a couple of days, the new 7.3 is so nice. I'm like,
Perfect reason to get rid of the other one.
He likes his XLTs.
I'm saying maybe I'll just drive like my 450 is my daily. Maybe I'll just daily the 7.3 and I'll get rid of the 450. I don't know.
So we're gonna put a Whipple on that thing?
I already have
You're
one. I
just
don't
going
need
to say
to.
that.
I mean, maybe if it was a daily, then maybe, but not for a work truck.
I don't like working on them, and I don't like talking about them. But we're here on the live stream. And we're talking about them all. 2008 6.4 0088 came on. If I cruise the truck, it goes into limp mode. But if I keep it in boost, it's fine. Is my HPFP bad? Dude, you got two things you can do. And I've had one work, and I've had one not work. There's an updated calibration for that particular code for the 6.4. I've had customers take them and come back, and I've ultimately had to replace a high pressure fuel pump. I've done it, and I've had customers not come back. What they changed, I don't know. It doesn't tell you. You check for a later calibration and you push one through. So that would be my recommendation. If you are unable to program successfully with a new calibration from Ford Motor Company, I would advise you to start either looking for replacement high pressure pump and a hoist to remove your cab, or get rid of it, because you're going to put a high pressure pump in it and then you're going to need a motor, and that's not going to be good.
I live, there's a lot of farmland, and there's about 5, 6 Fords that live close by, and they all sound like they all have Cummins in it now.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's the best thing you can do to a 6.4 is put Cummins in it.
Yeah.
Nope, not doing that frame swap. Let me look at the notes here. He says the 7.3. He kind of touched on whatever his little message was saying. Brought up the point about FordPass and you guys, having connectivity. This gentleman over here just said that he's getting a battery message warning on his FordPass app. So kind of funny, not funny, but it's a good story to hear. You guys, we can see our location of our truck. We can unlock it. We can start it. We can see the fuel tank level. We can see if there's any recalls. We'll get notified if the battery's low, just like one of the commenters. We'll get notified if we have a engine fault. I have people email me pictures and of their FordPass app, and it'll say, hey, emissions fault, see your servicing dealer, blah, blah, blah. You'll get alerted. Well, that is good, and sometimes that is bad. But it is good in the instance when you drop your truck off. Do you really know what they're doing? And Ford Boss has got a really kind of a shame on you guys. But you know what? You got caught. Luckily, the guy had FordPass.
So somebody dropped the vehicle off in the past. We're not going to say names. We're not going to dime people out because it was handled and somebody lost their job because of it. Let's just put it that way. Customer dropped the vehicle off and said, I want this pinstriping put on my vehicle. It's too plain. I thought I would like it. I really don't care for how plain it is, but I want this pinstriping put on, and they supplied the parts. Well, this place didn't do pinstriping. So they took the pinstriping to the company that they would typically use to outsource for this type of stuff. They thought they could handle the job, but they got too covered up, booked. I mean, things happen. They couldn't get around to the vehicle in a timely manner. They knew the customer needed the vehicle back pretty quick. So they ended up outsourcing it to another company that they know that does it. So this company takes the vehicle and they're performing the upgrade to the car, whatever you will, putting the pinstriping on. And then all of a sudden, the customer's FordPass starts going off. They start getting these notifications on their phone. All these codes are being set in the computer, and they're like, my battery go bad? Is my battery going dead? What's up with all this? There's like voltage codes and circuit codes and connection code, all this stuff popping up. And they're like, somebody breaking into my car? So
The heck?
I don't even have my vehicle, so I can't even check on it to see what's going on. So they figure out that this company has been tasked with the responsibility of the pinstriping. So they go to that company, and the company says, hey, we got too covered up. We outsourced it to another company that we use from time to time whenever these things happen. We apologize. They have the vehicle. So then they go to that company And as they're talking to the people about the vehicle and how long it's going to take and why they're getting all these notifications, the story, they're not liking what the people are saying. They can just tell something is not right. They're hiding something. So they walk right out into the shop with no okay, no nothing, just I want to see my vehicle. Something's not right. And as soon as they get to the vehicle, the whole back of the vehicle, where the rear hatch assembly and stuff is, has this 1.5 to 2 foot section of primer and Bondo where bodywork has been started. They damaged the vehicle somehow. They damaged the vehicle and they were unplugging and taking everything off of the vehicle so they could do the repair. And we're not going to notify the customer about it. Or if they were, they didn't tell the customer first. They were going to try to do the repair without the customer's approval and then give it back to the customer. Who knows how this would have all turned out? Needless
So
to say,
wait 1 second. Who's walking in there? Is it the dealership or is it the customer?
The customer.
the customer.
The customer's walking in there. So it's not like the shop manager, like,
No.
because the customer, they left the car with
customer
the
went
dealer.
to the facility
Okay.
that ultimately had the vehicle and wanted to know, why are all these codes popping up on my vehicle? Why is all this stuff going on? I only asked you to put pinstriping on my vehicle, and now I'm getting these notifications that all this stuff is happening. What's wrong with my vehicle?
Pinstriping.
Yeah.
What the fuck you guys doing?
Yeah, I want to know. I want to see my vehicle. I want to know what's going on, because this doesn't make sense. And it was only because of the FordPass app that they were able to tell that something was wrong.
They'd never know.
Or else they would have never even known that this had happened. Had the work been done good enough, they would have never known that somebody had. Needless to say, somebody lost their job because of this situation, because it was a very, 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 very expensive part. They ended up raising hell with all 3 places, and probably will never do business with any of those places again. And it's just an unfortunate situation. There's a pro and a con to everything. And in this situation, it happened to be a pro, and the customer was able to use the app to basically do some investigation and figure out exactly what was going on with their vehicle.
What are the cons?
The cons would be that,
Subpar work.
yeah,
For having FordPass.
Oh,
You know, there's pros, like you can see your car, someone disconnects the battery or it goes.
a lot of people don't want people watching them, being able to know exactly what's going on with their vehicle at all times, the location of it at all times, the fact that maybe they want to make a tasteful modification to their vehicle that doesn't void warranty, but now FordPass has something recognized as there's been a situation where something's been unplugged and then plugged back in or reprogrammed, or just like I was telling Aaron, let's just take another situation where updates and things like that are all logged through the vehicle health on PTS. We know exactly what's going on. We know when updates were performed, the date they were performed, the time they were performed, whether or not they were successful. Everything can be monitored and stored no matter what.
not that it completed, the date and time. Like, it's precise.
Yeah, I even tell you a software serial number.
Let me tell you something. I messed up. It was my first experience with a 2020 Explorer SD. Cody and Aaron, they already know. DS already knows. And I was trying to fix a problem. I didn't realize that these new vehicles are as sensitive as they are. It was my first brand new, like, nicer sport utility vehicle, FDRS system. I didn't know that they're as sensitive as they are, and that Ford knows everything that you're doing. And I was going through some programming, having some issues and stuff like that. Ford Hotline was helping me work through it. I was able to figure out the problem, but in the meantime, I let the battery voltage drop too low, and it bricked the TCU. And luckily, the guy that was working with me was understanding enough and didn't make me eat it or the dealership eat it. He was like, "Look, I understand. These things happen. I know everything that you did. Let me go into the log and look." And then he was like, "I see programming here. I see battery voltage dropped. You let it drop down to about 11.6 or whatever. That ain't going to fly. You got to have a battery charger on that vehicle at all times. It's not as forgiving as the old system where you were able to still successfully finish your programming, even when battery voltage dropped under 12 volts, even though it wasn't desirable. He was like, yeah, I see here, you kind of let it drop low when you were programming, and that's what smoked the system. Just go ahead and get a new TCU, get it programmed and stuff like that. Make sure you have a charger and stuff on it. He was able to see that I was the one that bricked this TCU, and I didn't deny it. I was upfront about it. I said, yeah, I was kind of in a hurry. I didn't put a battery charger on it. Everything is recorded. Everything. They know exactly what's going on.
Well,
You
the
can't
issue
lie.
too, like you're doing this update on this TCU and it takes like hours, right?
It took me 6.5, 7 hours.
Oh
to
my
finish this
God.
update.
Oh
Yeah.
God. So what kind of data could that be, like going into that system?
I don't know, man. There's packets upon packets upon packets and sessions. Like it'll say session 1, there's 6 sections that have to be
Yep.
downloaded. Session 2, there's like 5 sections that have to be downloaded. And then when you think you're done, you're not even close. Then it has to.
Just to like recover in an instrument panel on like a Mach-E or a F-150 with Blue Cruise, that's 6 hours just to recover it.
It's like how do they come up with this new technology, but they can't communicate quickly like other new technologies?
Because DS, they haven't let us know what the alien technology is. That's why. And until we find out, then we won't know.
But here's the thing: they're at least
What's the thing?
looking at everything as a technician. They're at least looking at everything that you guys are doing. Like FordPass said, like they knew step by step everything he did. And his voltage dropped, and he most likely didn't use a charger. So they can watch what you guys are doing.
Oh, they know. They're smart enough to know exactly what was going on when it was. And I didn't realize I was wrong. And I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. I didn't know it's not at least somewhat forgiving like the old system. And he was like, no, you can't do that on these new vehicles.
But here's the
Yeah.
catcher. Here's the killer. You get to the TSU, it breaks. Once it's bricked, the vehicle still operates, but they can't see nothing no more. That TCU is bricked, right?
Right.
But then you lose FordPass and all your creature comforts of FordPass.
It's like they're sneaking it in. They're sneaking it in with those creature comforts.
Exactly.
But
But
what
I mean,
else? What else they sneaking in there?
Well,
I
aren't
mean,
they issuing luxury options that you have to pay to use? I caught wind, and I don't even know if it's true or not yet, that BMW, for example, has heated seats. I saw some videos on this where you've got to pay a subscription to have access to the heated seats in your car.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
For real?
That's
I did a
what I
video
heard.
on it. I did a video on that. It's
Yeah.
true. It's they're not doing it here in America yet, but they're doing it in like Thailand, South Africa,
Mhm.
Europe. There's like 5 or 6 different countries that they're already doing it in. And they're already charging people for it.
Wow.
You get the vehicle built with the features, but you don't have access to the features unless you're willing to pay for that stuff up front. So the vehicle has it there. Heated steering wheel, heated seat,
So you don't really own it.
lane departure or whatever, warning, automatic headlight dimming whenever a car is coming at you if you have your brights on. These
You
are
turn that
features
shit on. Oh, yeah.
that the vehicle has that if you're not paying a subscription for, you are not getting access to it. It could be $18 a month. It could be $400 a year, $500 for a lifetime subscription, whatever it is.
that's
You're
like
paying for it.
Tesla's auto drive or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you don't buy it, you don't get it. But the car can go back and someone else can buy it and can get it.
Okay.
See what
That's
that
a
opens up.
$10,000 option.
What that opens us up to, though, is the possibility, or it's not the possibility, it's going to happen. When you're paying for subscriptions to things that are already in your vehicle, but you just didn't pay a certain amount to have access to them when you bought the vehicle, the aftermarket world is going to take advantage of that. They're going to
most
find
definitely.
ways. They're going to find ways to get into that system, turn that stuff on, sell a neat little handheld for $500 where the customer can turn that stuff on. Or, most guys that I was speaking to about this said, heated seats, power and ground, the seat itself is resistance. I'll just put a switch in circuit, send, 10 amps to it or something like that and say on off. I got heated seats.
I mean, we're already doing it right now with ForceScan, so.
I mean,
Every time then they'll figure out how to keep that from happening though. They always
mean,
do.
Oh,
I
yeah.
took-
What they'll do is they'll make you sign it when you start. Hey, you ain't gonna do that. You can't even take the car. You gotta sign this, sign this, sign this. If you
I mean,
turn
I-
on the heated seat without paying, you violated the contract.
I already turned
Oh.
off auto start stop on my buddy's F-150 and turned on global open. And it's just a baseline XL truck.
That's what I did today. I had a buddy come by and he was like, "Hey man, I hate this auto start stop. I'm just gonna." I
Just
told
awful.
him. He said it's the starter starting to make a little grinding noise from time to time. It's not all the time. It's weird. It sounds like it's a little unhealthy once I've been driving the vehicle for a while, and it gets hot and it start stop in traffic, and I don't like the way it sounds, and I don't want to be in the dealer all the time. Can you get rid of this? And I said, well, I can get rid of it. And if it's already making noise and stuff like that, and it's going to be an expensive fix, I don't feel bad doing it. I got rid of it. I
Right.
programmed it out of the truck as if it was never even there, and it was never even installed from the factory.
The Tremors.
I remember when
Tremor
they first
F-150s
came
have
out with
come
that. I remember when they first came out with that, my dad had to get the truck serviced for a few days. So the guy drove him back, and it was in a new Fusion and had the auto stop and start. And my dad came in the house, he's like, okay, what is this new thing that they're doing with the auto stop and start? And I said, well, it's just a way to save fuel. And it was just when it started to come out, he said, that's the most annoying thing in the whole world. I'm like, yeah, it is. But everyone's going to it now because they gotta save that just a little bit of fuel. But to me, I always wondered that too. Like, what about the starter that constantly starting the vehicle every time?
They
you're
built a
in
starter
traffic?
with what they call upgraded components that are supposed to last a little bit longer. And honestly, I've never had a single truck or vehicle come into the dealership that has failed because of auto start stop. That's just my personal experience. But I have had people come in and say, I can't handle this, man. The lag, whenever you go to, some of them aren't as responsive. As soon as you go to take your foot off the brake, it fires up immediately. Some of them take a second. And then, I had a guy come in and say, when I'm in traffic in Chicago and I take my foot off the brake and that thing's not started and ready to go right away, and it's got that little bit of a lag to it sometimes, the guy behind me thinks I'm about ready to go when I pull my foot off the brake, and he's already lurching forward, and they almost hit me sometimes. Like, I want this gone. I want it out of my truck.
Yeah,
But I will say they've gotten better though. Like the very latest ones, they're a lot smoother.
They're more responsive.
Yeah, I had a 15 150 and it was a little bit annoying. Power boost, totally unnoticeable, but that's a whole different setup.
Yeah, that's a whole different setup because you got a Fiat starter on that.
A what?
Belt-driven starter.
For real?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
The belt-driven starter only works during auto start-stop events.
Front end accessory drive.
Where is it at?
It's mounted on the side of the engine.
Driven by the belt.
There's, you'll see it. You'll see two big ass pulleys.
Do I have two
for
starters?
tensioners? You have a belt-driven starter. You have a regular starter, and the electric motor starts it.
Wait a second. That's too much.
You have three starters.
That's too much stuff going on. Holy smokes.
How much money or gas saving does that really save you?
I can tell you a lot of people do not get the window sticker ratings. It's more like 16 to 17 miles a gallon.
Honestly,
you're better off getting a diesel.
Honestly, most people don't see a savings. And I'm just going to say that because the people that like auto start stop, they're
almost lost it.
I don't know, they have a different mindset. Most people that come into the dealership don't want auto start stop at all. I had one guy come into the dealership and he was like, my Escape auto start stop, it just quit working and I can't have that. I got to have that fixed. And I was like,
what?
Yes, sir. Let me get on that.
The biggest thing about those things is the battery. Like they either don't drive the car enough and the battery's under 80% capacity and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they complain about it.
Is it still an option or do you have to, or is it standard now?
I think you can option it off on some, but that's about it.
I think it's a lower end model that you can get it
it.
optioned off on. But, I did a video one time kind of wink, wink, a situation where I just said exactly what Cody did, just in different words. He was kind of more faster and more
Technical.
educational, technical when he said it. But I said, guys, I've seen people let their batteries drop low a couple times with a dome light or something on in sequence, and the battery drop low and then come back up and then drop low and then come back up. And the BMS sees this a couple times and it thinks that something may be wrong, and it will disable the auto start stop. And guys are like, oh, so you're just telling me let my battery go dead a couple times and it'll stop. Well, I am kind of saying that, but I'm not saying that. Yes, it will disable. But here's the thing. Once it goes into a disable mode, the charging system knows that something's wrong there, and it has parameters on which it can change the way it keeps the battery recharged. If you actually read the 3 or 4 page like pamphlet, it could be up to 5 pages now. I don't know. It says there's all these different criterias and stuff that cause the auto start stop to either work or not work. And in a situation where the battery does go dead or it does shut the auto start stop off because of a battery event, there's different ways that it can change your charging rate as well. So it looks at multiple parameters to keep that battery health up and the auto start stop working.
Yeah.
Can you
And
disconnect the battery? And it'll do the same thing, or does it
What,
have
like
to
this-
die first?
This
You have to
disconnect the
deactivate.
BMS sensor.
Or no, just
Yeah.
like disconnect the battery so you won't deactivate the auto stop start. Or does it have to die for it to?
it has to get under about 75-ish% of
If you-
the BMS or whatever they call it. It has to be under like 75% before it
It's gotta
starts
see it's gotta
disabling
see a
it.
low voltage.
If
But-
you disconnect the battery, that's not necessarily going to disable it, because when you plug it back in, that BMS sensor is hooked up to that cable anyway, and it's going to be able to see that the battery is up to a certain health. So that won't necessarily disable it. It needs to see a low state.
But the
multiple
problem
times.
Okay.
with discharging the battery is you're going to charge the battery again when you drive it.
Right.
You're going to charge the battery up. The car's going to sit overnight, and it's going to do a reset after a 6-hour
Sleep mode.
sleep mode. Then it's going to recheck what BMS percentage is. Then you're going to be either above 80 or above 75, and it's going to start working again.
So
So
what is all this stuff going on? Like if your battery's low, it turns off start stop, but it doesn't tell you your battery's low. Like, hey, your battery's low.
Yeah, it's
letting
not
you
gonna
know.
it's not gonna warn you when you have 80% health or 75% health of your battery, just for the simple fact the battery's still good. It doesn't want to tax the system any further. So they're saying you're gonna still be within your field of health and the term that you have the life of that battery. But in the meantime, to protect other features, let's disable the passenger side smart touch system. Let's disable this. Let's disable that. Let's start protecting the system and keeping that charge function up and stop the auto start stop. Your vehicle is smart enough to start disabling little creature comforts that are not critical for the vehicle to operate, to protect the charging system and keep you on the road, as long as that battery health is still within check. I had a guy come in that was complaining about, and this is huge for maybe even some of the Super Duty guys. I know it was a Limited and a Raptor that both had the, what do they call that? The smart touch, or the handle, the touch, one touch lock, one touch open, unlock. And it disabled the passenger side on both vehicles. And I knew exactly what it was, because the guy had a battery that was like 2.5, 3 years old, and nobody had serviced the battery. Nobody had cleaned it. There was a lot of surface discharge that was pulling the battery down. I cleaned everything up, cleaned the terminals, put everything back together, and reset the BMS, and it automatically brought everything back online. It's just a simple fact that that system tries to protect the charging system overall. And that's what it does. That's just its function.
I have a question for all of you 100s watching, and I want to know from Rain Man, what is the best shock that you use out in retail? What shocks are you using on trucks? It's a question that I get asked a lot, and I'm looking for new shocks. And it's like, do we stick with OE? Are we using Fox? Are we using Rancho Chocamungas? What are we using?
Bilstein.
Well, first off,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not the guy because my truck's rocking some Rancho 5000s right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, 5,000.
I got the Rancho 5000 package. I mean, they're
Okay.
shocks and they
All right,
work.
all
They
right.
work. To better answer your question though, when we've got somebody that cares about what brand of shock goes on their truck, then they've already picked it out. If that makes any sense. I'm not going to recommend an off-road shock for somebody. I let them do that because it's their research and it's their custom toy they're putting together.
Fox.
Yep. But
Everybody's saying Fox.
I mean, Fox is Fox, and they're hard to compete against right now. But
I mean, if we're gonna spend money, we might as well get Kings, right?
I don't know. It depends on what you like. I guess it depends on what you like and how much you're going to spend. You said it all. If you're going to spend money, it's
Rancho 9000 XL adjustable. Love them on my 350.
fancy Ranchos.
Bilsteins are the deal, but they don't make them any for my size lift. Bummer.
Most of the serious guys that come in with the 350s, 450s, 550s, I'll see some of them with Bilstein, like the Super Duties that are fancier. They got the big wheels and they got the paint package and everything else that these guys have been modding. They love the Foxes, but the guys that are actually working, that have campers and trailers and fifth wheels and everything else, and they're pulling loads and stuff all the time, I always see them with Bilsteins on there, or Bilsteins. I don't know how do you say it? Bilstein?
Bilsteins.
I say
Bilsteins.
Bilsteins. Though the serious guys I see coming into the dealership that are really working those truck with like a highway rated tire and stuff like that, like the big work tires, they got Bilsteins. That's the ones I see running.
Everyone here, the bunch of farmers, they got Super Duties, Rams, and every truck. But yeah, they always run Bilsteins because they're always towing heavy or overrating their trucks with loads and stuff. And we get snow, we get about a foot and a half of snow every year here, and they keep putting Bilsteins on them, just changing the tires out.
Shocks and airbags. That's a kit. Guy says he's got airbags and Rancho Chocamungas. Okay.
On cars, I like Conies.
I know if you guys remember watching, it was it was months ago. I did that Tremor, the shocks on the front shocks on the Tremor. Those were OE. Thing had like 35,000 miles on it, almost out of bumper to bumper, and the motherfuckers was leaking.
Yeah.
So I had to put, obviously it's under warranty. I had to put new Tremor shocks on. But, that got me thinking. It's like, I got like 20-some thousand on mine. It's like, do I stick with OEs? Am I really going to notice a difference in ride? I hear people all the time saying that the OE shocks are crap. I mean,
You see I did a video on a Bronco Sport. The lady came in and she was complaining about some chattering in parking lot maneuvers coming from the rear end, which there's an SSM out to drain the fluid and put the new fluid in. And that stuff's like $80 a quart, $90 a quart. And it doesn't even take a full quart. And that's supposed to contaminated fluid. And you're supposed to flush it out and then put new fluid in. So I did that. And I'm looking at this lady's shocks and I'm like, man, this passenger side shock is just moist from the umbrella all the way down. I mean, up inside it, all the way down to the bottom. And I was reading this GSB on some of the newer vehicles and stuff. And I was so surprised to see how limited we are on actually taking care of the customer whenever we see shocks that are starting to leak and moist and stuff like that, because that GSB was saying if it's like a third of the skirt, or if it's a third of it from this, you can't replace them. It has to be this far down. And I'm like, what? If it's leaking, it's leaking. And they're like, no, there's criteria you have to follow, and you have to follow it.
I'll tell you what, I put Ranchos on the front of my truck and I noticed a big difference as soon as I did it.
well, maybe I'll change mine out at 30,000. I'll give it to 30K and I'll try to pick a.
They were
set.
takeoffs. They were takeoffs I had in a box for a long time.
You
The
know,
OEM shock sucks. I'd like a
You-
new set of Hong Kong long tongue tires from China, please.
I tell
Oh,
the guys
guys,
all the
that's
time that
funny.
come in, the guys that come in with the Super Duties that want us to do the steering stabilizer. I'm like, look, man, there's an SSM out with a new part number and stuff.
Oh, you
I'll
guys
put
are killing me.
I'll put the OE stabilizer on it, but I'm going to see you in 6 months from now or a year again. I'm sorry, man. I'm calling it like it is. If I was you, I would find a decent heavy duty steering stabilizer. And a lot of times you can get them as a whole front end kit. You can get new shocks, you'll get the steering stabilizer and everything. And I'll just do it all in one shot. And I never see those guys back. The guys that come in with a rough, not really rough country, like Fox, rough country, Bilstein, the Rancho stuff. When I see those guys come in with those, I don't ever see them back for the death wobble stuff anymore. But if I put the OE one back on it, 6 months later, a year later, they're back in again saying, hey, it's doing the death wobble stuff all over again.
That wobble, it'll get you. That'll get you.
The guys that are doing the twin setups are even happier. The ones that are doing the twin steering stabilizers.
Yeah, I got a
Fox-
couple trucks coming in with those.
Fox has a real good kit that a lot of guys will come in and have me upgrade their steering stabilizer to a double setup and just solid going down the road, man.
There's a lot of rotational mass and a lot of stuff going on the front end, and it's it's all it takes is a little bit of play in that track bar, and you get that axle jumping between the frame, and who knows how big of tires they got sticking outside their fenders, and then wheel bearings just screaming, "Take these off of me!" and just that's it's like spinning yourself in a computer chair, and then you throwing your legs out, and how off balance that's going to be. It's you hit a uneven roads, or like what FordPass was talking. It's you guys have seen videos on the internet or on YouTube, and just how violent the whole truck. It is definitely scary.
I have a route that I take whenever they come in so I can verify, and I'll go down this one stretch of road, and it has a nice, not huge, but a nice bump at about 40, 45 mile an hour, and I'll hit it. And it's like every single time, it's like your teeth are starting to jar out of your mouth. I'm like, whoa, what the heck, man? Yep. Customer concern verified.
Definitely going to be a shock video in the future. Banks was in the comments. Banks was on the Diffie and the air filter video. I was really excited to have got the rear axle cover. I thought it was a super clean setup using the press-in gasket. That was real slick. My favorite part about it, I think, serviceability. Won the fill at the top, and I liked the sight glass. I thought that was pretty nifty, and I'd really like to see somebody put a temperature probe in there. I think it'd be kind of cool to see what actual temps are. The GT 350s, they have one in their rear end, and you can go through the instrument cluster and see the air fuel ratio and ECT, EOT, axle temp. That'd be kind of cool.
I got a fun fact on that.
Fact us.
So on the GT350, if you don't get the cooling package and you're driving it on the track, it will put you into reduce engine mode if it gets too hot.
The rear axle fluid?
Fun fact. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I remember that when it first came out, because people were posting about it, like, why is my GT350 going to lit mode and stuff like that? And then everyone was saying, you don't have the cooling package in it. And they're like, oh, that's bull crap. I only got 2 laps in, and then it started overheating. I'm like, well, yeah, because it's revving 8 grand. What do you expect to happen?
I got a good one for you. So I got this new 7.3 and I'm driving it and I'm like, dang, this thing's quiet. It's nice. It's quiet. And I'm thinking, you know what? That fan's not running. On my 19, all I hear is just every time I drive, it's just like the fan clutch is just going. It's howling. Is that an issue?
Couple things. You could have an AC problem. See what those AC pressures are, because the PCM is going to try to cool down the refrigerant via the fan through the condenser. So
Have you cleaned the condenser? Have you cleaned the
Yeah.
radiator? Have you done the maintenance on that stuff? Have you put
cottonwood,
put air tip in here holes like I do? I put plugs
I've got a tool just for that. I'll send it to you, DS, or I'll put it in the chat actually.
What I do when the guys come in that work that are in landscaping and construction and stuff is I'll get the customers okay ahead of time and I'll say, look, you've got a plugged up condenser and radiator. I'm going to put some access ports up here and I'm going to label them clean port, clean port, clean port. And I'm going to put plugs in them. I want you guys every month, maybe every couple of weeks, if you think about it, to pull those plugs out of there and just lightly kind of blow around inside there if you want, water, pull your top plastic piece off, clean all that out. And a lot of guys are like, dude, the fan doesn't race anymore. The AC pressures aren't super high anymore. Thanks. It's part of our regular maintenance routine now is to clean that out every once in a while. Because a lot of these guys, they don't do that.
Yeah.
that'll get you.
We see it a lot in Florida because of it being Florida and AC is massive. DS is in the chat. Oh no, it's
Right.
We had
not.
to start doing that
Darn.
more here.
I got to look into that because
Why would
it's,
anybody do maintenance? Brakes, maintenance? That was one of the things I wrote down. Brake fluid. Are you guys even checking brake fluid? Ford boss and we have gotten little bits of scan tool equipment and little testers, and we got a brake fluid tester that you simply just dip into the brake fluid master cylinder, and it has some LED lights on it indicating its level of water and so forth. But I think it's a forgotten thing. I guess it depends on how it tests out, but I think brake fluid's definitely that.
Now one of the downfalls to a tester is good, don't get me wrong, but one of the downfalls is does brake fluid, somebody had mentioned something to me one time and said, and I don't think they realized exactly what they were saying. They said, okay, so that tester only works so well. It's a $10 tester that anybody can find on Amazon. Or you can buy a more expensive one for $20-25 that has its own computer and stuff inside it. But doesn't oil and water separate? And I was like, well, think about what you're saying. Think about what brake fluid is. It's how did they say it? Hygroscopic.
Yep.
It absorbs moisture. So what's in one part of the fluid is going to be in all parts of the fluid. Now, debris may sink to a lower spot, but if you're simply testing for moisture, which is a huge factor, a simple tester can at least give you some kind of idea on exactly what's going on. Don't count it out. Use it as a tool. It's cheap. Keep it in your glove box. Keep it somewhere in your garage and just check it every once in a while. Get an idea on what's going on.
Brakes, water, not good. What is water in the brake system going to do?
boil, cause a boiling issue.
Good. Yep. Which is going to cause brake fade.
Fade.
You hit that stop pedal.
It lowers
you ain't
the
stopping.
boiling point there. Your
Mhm.
boiling point on brake fluid is probably what, 450 degrees or something, maybe more.
That's some of the newer stuff. I think the .3 stuff isn't it like lower? Isn't it like 350 and then .4 is like 450?
.4, that's I think these new Super Duties are going to require .4, at least even through like 11 through 16s, I think. Nah, those might still be .3, but the .4 stuff is going to be a little bit more hydroscopic, I think, compared to the 3, but it's going to have a little bit higher boiling point. But all the while, your boiling point slowly dropping, but it still works.
Does it make it change different colors? Like by just looking at it, if there's water in it?
It can tarnish.
real
It can
dark.
it could start to turn yellowish, and then it'll start to get dark. And I've seen some of it look like almost mud because people have never serviced it. It's bad.
Speaking of brake fluid, one of our channel members asks a question. He says he's heard of DEF is more caustic than brake fluid. Will it damage paint and finish faster than brake fluid? Any truth to that? I've heard of both. And I'm quick to clean up both off any painted surfaces. But I mean, that'd be kind of a cool video, I guess, to see if
I've seen a lot of guys get DEF on their paint, and I've seen no track marks because they clean it up right away. But again, it's cleaning it up right away. Anything that you
Mhm.
spill on the paint of your vehicle, chemical wise, it's going to be critical to clean it off right. And the good thing about both of those products that you mentioned is both of them are the easiest washed away with water first. Warm water. Warm
Oh,
water.
I thought brake fluid was cold water.
It doesn't matter. Water.
Just water. Yeah.
Just water.
I mean,
Or-
DEF will rust anything.
Yeah.
That's the bad part about it.
that's no good. That's
I have
no,
a-
I wish.
I have a video showing how water does with brake fluid. It's kind of disgusting. A lot of people didn't think I was being truthful when I said it, and I wouldn't lie to you guys. If I say I know something, I know it. So me and my daughter went out on the back deck. I spilled brake fluid literally on my hand, and I took water and I washed it off. And then I took my hand and I licked it from my palm all the way to my fingers. And people were like, "Oh, that's so nasty." It's hygroscopic. It gets under the brake fluid and it lifts it off the surface and washes it away. That's the best way to clean that, even DEF. I've seen
So
people
you couldn't taste anything?
no.
I seen that video. That was actually really cool. I showed my dad that.
Every time I spill DEF, if it's down in the fill hole, what I do is I'll immediately go rinse. Every time I fill it up, I rinse out my DEF nozzle, but I'll fill the nozzle up with water and walk it back over to the truck, and then just douche out the fill hole with water, and just exfoliate that whole area with
That's what I
clean
do every
H2O.
time. Yeah, the techs that are doing this stuff, like Aaron, me, that's what I won't even fill a customer Super Duty up with DEF before I wash that thing out first, because I'm so worried about what I'm going to be putting in their system. So I'll go in the break room and I'll run hot water down the funnel first, and I'll make sure it's cleaned out. There's no crystals or anything in there. Maybe last time I was in a hurry and I didn't quite get it. I'll wash it out again before I put it on a new fresh DEF tank of fluid, before I even dump it in there. And then when I'm done, I'll go wash it out again and drop it right back in its bag and keep
Yep.
it sealed.
Yep. It's just a nasty mess. Get on your boots and man.
See,
So
when
with the brake fluid, what do you think you should do? As far as
What do you mean?
we don't have a tester, but let's just say scheduling wise.
2 to
Well,
3
they-
years.
they
2 to
said
3
3
years.
years, then they backed it down to 2 years. If you're asking me, because I have my own spec on everything, I over maintenance. I think people should be checking, if not servicing, that stuff every year. It's too much. It's too critical of a component. It's your livelihood and who's working for you and everything else in that vehicle. I know I overdo things. I know everybody's not going to agree with me. I tell people 1 to 2 years.
I say
Probably
maybe
keep
I go with 2.
those bleeders working.
What do you think? What do you think, Rain Man?
Man, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. My kid was fighting with the cat.
Oh, how often do you think you should service brake fluid?
Oh, 30 thou. I mean, it's always a good
So about 2 years.
yeah, 2 years, 30,000. Yeah, or condition based. I mean, you might get it hot and wear it out faster. It's but usually rule of thumb for me is 2 years, 30,000.
That's a good you guys want to see a video on that? Doing a brake fluid exchange?
So Raymond, you're in an independent shop. How would you do it? Do you vacuum bleeder, pressure bleeder?
I like to run a vacuum on. See, I don't have the old pressure bleeder like I used to, but I like to run a vacuum on each caliper. You start the right rear, farthest one away, move to the left rear, then right front, left front. And there's a couple different types of machines. One is you just pour your fluid in as it goes out. That's the cheap machine. That's you. And then the other ones, they've got other ones where they'll actually, there's a pressure vessel on the machine that you hook shop air to, and then connect the sealed cap to your reservoir, and it'll pump in
I just picked this up on
as your
Amazon.
vacuum pulls it out.
Just
Yes,
don't
is
worry.
about to paint some garages.
Don't worry, this is my brake bleeder. It's brand new.
It works. That's a good one.
I don't know. I never used it, but I'm planning on using it.
It works. It works.
If it works,
Okay.
it's a good one.
Mac has one that I bought, and if I'm in a hurry and I can't get out the big machine like Ray was talking about,
Mhm.
I like to use the big machine because I find that it actually does a really good job. The tool that you have, it takes a little bit longer, but it also does a very good job. If you buy like the nicer one, I paid I think it was like $130 off the Mac truck for mine. I could have got it cheaper elsewhere, but I like the guy. I do good business with him and stuff like that. He always treats me well, so I bought his. And I'm going to be doing mine here soon in the next couple of days, and I'm going to walk through a full video on how I use that tool to pull all the fluid out of the vehicle. And it's critical to make sure you're running sufficient amount. A lot of guys will put it on there and they'll pull for a few seconds and they're like, oh, okay, I got some out, I'm done. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. You got to pull quite a bit out and keep filling it up to make sure you got it. Make sure it's clear when it comes out, you know?
Gotta be clear. Gotta be clear. Yes, vid. Yes. And brake job. Yes, please. Yes. All right. We'll put it on the docket. What other notes do we have written down here? We had that FordPass. We had the diffies. Oh,
There was something else we talked about, Ray. Or I mean, Aaron, there was something else we talked
that
remember.
one. I have another thing written down, and I actually have a special tool that's going to be sent to me from Promax. This is a new tool coming out, and it got me thinking earlier today at work while I was video chatting him. What for you guys? What's your go-to tools when you have your Super Duty? Like if you got your truck, you have like a little bug out bag. Do you keep your Milwaukee tools with you? Do you got some cool caboodle with a bunch of Lisa Frank malarkey? What's your go-to tools? I have a jump pack. I have a master lockout kit in case I see anybody stranded or has locked their keys out, which I have done twice already. What else
That's
do
why
I
you
have?
have that.
Well, I had it at work in my toolbox, but I
drive
decided.
the most reliable vehicles on the road. Sorry, I don't have to carry any of that stuff with me.
I carry I carry my Icon stuff, that I bought from Harbor Freight 4 years ago and
Dude.
still using.
That's
People
what's
have
up.
been bugging me to do a review on the Icon stuff because we're right at a year since I bought it, and they want to know the update. Oh, I've used that stuff for soap, never broke one single time. I love it.
Ask Aaron about that 3/8 ratchet that he got from me. It's like his go-to grabber.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Same with mine. I do it every single time, and I'm just so used to it, and everything feels like name brand stuff. And so I'm like, why? I pay $150 for a ratchet. I have a $40 one with a lifetime warranty that is close ratio, just like the name brand stuff, and it just works.
I have a Snap-on 1/4-inch flex head, and I have an Icon 1/4-inch flex head. So it's apples to apples pretty much. The Icon's a little longer, but still whatever. I accidentally grabbed the Icon thinking it was a Snap-on, and I didn't even know.
Yeah, you don't.
It's that good.
Going
Whoa.
to Harbor Freight. Yeah. See you later, buddy.
Whoa.
Dang. Oh, yeah, whoa. There we go. Somebody's gonna stay on top of that. We just got spammed sexually.
We're here for DS's window lube.
Don't use that.
I was at Harbor Freight and I was actually pretty impressed with the setup of toolboxes. And the only reason why I bring up toolboxes is I really want another toolbox. The toolbox that I have now is a Mac Tech 1000, and I bought like a couple of years later a side cabinet. So I've had this set up for 18 years. Didn't think I was going to have this for that long, and I'm grown out of it. I don't have many parts or anything in there. It's pretty much everything I got, and I have a ball joint press and some other stuff that I can't keep in my toolbox because I don't have any room, so I got to take it home. So if I have a job at work, I got to prioritize and remember I got to bring. It's just a pain in the butt. And I started looking at the Harbor Freight stuff, and I was like, dang.
I mean,
Well,
the Icon line is pretty nice.
Right,
not.
but the only thing I don't like is I don't want to stay. I don't know what the size of the deep is. I don't want to stay at 24 inches deep or whatever mine is. I want the deep drawer. And
That's
I
that's
don't
where
think
they
something
screwed up.
Icon offers that. I mean, the price for the stuff that I saw, toolbox hutch, side cabinets on top of the this motherfucker needs its own zip code. Damn, I put this and this.
And it's for 10 grand. You get the whole shebang
Right,
for 10 grand. Listen,
right.
they almost got me. I was
Any
thinking about
color
it.
you want too.
And they got the credit card there for like no
Yep.
interest for whatever.
Yep.
And it's
Yep.
it's a good deal. And you're like, man, all right, deliver it, please. And I went back to the store like 3 or 4 times and I'm walking circles around this thing like, oh,
What do I
come on,
do?
I need this in my life. I'd love to have a new box. And then what killed it for me is I started leaning on the drawers. I opened up the drawers and I leaned on them and I tried to move them with some weight. And I'm like, man, no, this is not what I like. It's rough and gritty. And, I was afraid I was going to tear it up in 2 years and then realized that I made a mistake and I should have just spent twice as much on 4 times the toolbox. I mean, it's a good box. Don't get me wrong, but I think I could wreck it in.
If you're starting off, okay, fine, no problem.
Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah.
You've seen mine, right, Aaron? The
Hell
orange one?
yeah. Damn, hell
So-
yeah.
I've never told the story on that because I wanted to wait a while until some time cleared. Nobody knows the story. I was asked not to tell the story at least for a long, long time. I got a maximizer.
That's
It's
a
not
bad
the-
bitch.
It's not the biggest maximizer because you can actually get one that's like 6 inches longer than mine, but it's like 30 inches. What is it? 30 inches. It's the deepest one that they make. It's 30 some inches deep. And this guy bought this thing and it was trailered to him from a tool provider. And when he's seen how big it was and he's standing in front of it and the money that he's going to spend, it was like 12.5 customized just for the bottom box. He was freaking out. The guy had buyer's remorse. He was trying to find things to nitpick, which there was nothing wrong with it at all. And I was given a deal. I said, you're looking for a big box. We've got a big box. Do you want this thing for basically half the price? And I was like, yes, pick me. I'm in. It's my go time. I've been waiting for this. I want a nice box, just like all the guys that have been in the field for 30 or 40 years. I want it now. So I got it. I own it, but I waited for the deal because those boxes are like $12,000, $15,000, $16,000 boxes. So I got it for
Bad
half
bitch.
of what it cost.
Nice.
Orange.
I wish I would have waited until Icons came out, honestly. I bought a 84-inch deep Cornwell custom. So
I had a
It-
Craftsman box.
Let me.
the problem I'm gonna have is when I build my garage, it's gonna be too deep. The
Yeah.
box.
This
So that-
is
I'm probably gonna sell the Cornwell and get the Icons.
this is what I want.
That's nice.
Triple. I could fit everything. My big thing, I really let me go sideways with this. I really on a box, my favorite is these right here. These long drawers. You got 3 or 4 of them. You got the top sockets, your pliers, wrenches, I don't know, Tech 1000 if you guys know what that is. I just got one big drawer and that's just all sockets. But right, that's a bad bitch right there, man.
I like mine because they took the power bank and they moved it from the side up to the front. So I'm not reaching around the side of the box anymore. And if I need to plug anything in, I just discovered the other day that if you're plugging in something sensitive, the bottom port on mine is actually like what is the D-rated amp hour? Is it like 1.5 or something like that? And then the upper one's 3 or 2.5. What's that?
That's my service cart.
Nice.
So I don't have to go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Nice.
Snap on. What are we doing?
Wow. Back
What
order
are we
too.
doing?
Hydraulics, man.
Wow, Cody, look at you.
Best
When I was-
$500 I ever spent.
When I was young, I used to put my Craftsman toolbox in my trunk on my 92 Infinity, and I would bounce. It would hit bumps, and all the freaking drawers, the tracks would just break, and they would all just sit on top of each other. So when I go and work on people's cars, I used to just take the whole drawer out and just set it out there because it just wasn't. You put the little metal bars in the front to lock everything in, just like you look at my truck, like, what's in the
She
trunk?
blessed.
You drive this car, like I pick up my girlfriend, and all you hear is bouncing around the tools, metal bouncing on the back. And I would
Hey.
take my I used to go and do mobile mechanic, but I used to also go to the junkyard and I would get my little Craftsman pack out. But this is before Milwaukee was doing pack outs. They had the Craftsman one, it was all plastic. It had a handle on it, and you go walking into the junkyard with this thing, with this big plastic Craftsman, and then the freaking latch pops open, all the tools go falling on the ground. Every piece, like 200-300 pieces, just flying all over the junkyard ground, just picking up all the sockets, trying to put them back in.
This is
Oh,
DS
my
over here. He's having a good old time. It's nice when you can make yourself laugh.
It is.
Oh man, what a
See,
nightmare!
I want a triple bank. That's a hefty.
That's a big bitch.
Oh, Raymond. Oh, who's that? Is that CP?
Yeah, that's my box.
Yeah.
And you say that's for sale, yeah? I need that in my life.
It'll be for sale. It's
Yeah.
at my dad's house right now.
There's a dude at work that's got like the 84-inch one, but he's got the extra large side cabinets on it. And then he's got the hutch that goes on top of it that connects everything at the same level. And he said he's got like 30 grand tied up just in box alone because he had to have the special edition with the chrome everything, accents and all this other stuff, the power banks in it. And I'm looking at this thing from across the shop and I'm like, fuck, man, that's a lot of toolbox. What do you do though? What do you do out of that box? So
I mean, you can have all the tools, but honey, you may not know how to use them.
yeah,
It looks pretty. I mean,
I pick on him all the time. I'm like, man, 40 years in the field, what the hell do you do out of that thing?
no, yeah, that just reminds me, right? We're working, me and CP, we're doing a fuel tank. DS rolls up and he's all excited, gets his tools, rolling out his cart, get his tool bag, and the first thing he says to Cody is like, Cody, yeah, check out how clean this is. Look how clean this is.
Told me my tools were nasty. I'm like, because I use them.
Just took it out of the box. What the fuck you talking about? Oh man, that's so funny.
Yes, you use your tools more.
Oh,
Luke the other day went to Harbor Freight and he got their new it wasn't the Icon brand, but their lower the brand down from Icon is coming up as well. And it had
The
this
US
thing
General?
had it had the protected hard plastic durable corners and stuff with the textured coating on it. It
They
had
got a nice cart.
It had the chrome trim drawers. It was like almost chest height with a flip up top and stuff on it. And it had like 12 deep drawers or something. And I was like, what the hell? What'd you pay for that? And he says, $600. And I was like, the same one on the Snap-on truck and the Mac and Matco truck I just looked at, They're like $4,000. It's like, yep, $600, and they look almost identical if you didn't see a name on it.
Wow.
They have the
Wow.
sliding top drawers too.
Yep, I seen the double open ones.
I mean, Harbor Freight is stepping up their game a little bit.
A lot of it.
I want a toolbox with a built-in kegerator and pizza oven. Ooh, I don't know about the
Well-
kegerator, but pizza oven, yeah.
Well, wait a second. You know, who out there that I was completely unexpected when I seen this. I seen a refrigerator, I seen speakers, I seen a built-in radio, and I was shocked when I seen it. I knew I couldn't pull the trigger on it because I was like, that's got to be cheaply made. But somebody had this out before anybody had this out. Who was it?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's the box right there. It looks just like that. Yeah. How many drawers are in there? Like 8, 10, 12?
This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drawer.
Oh, I don't know. His looked like it had more than that, but maybe that's the one. Maybe it's just so damn big that it looked like it had 12, but they're 6 deep. But remember going through Home Depot and they would have all their toolboxes laid out in an area, and then you'd walk by and they had one on the end and it had music playing out of it. And then there was a refrigerator on the bottom of it. And then it had like triple power banks or something on it. And I'm looking at it, oh shit, man, that's crazy. I would be like, everybody in the shop would come by and they'd be like, wow, look at this. And it was Cobalt. Cobalt had that box out before anybody did, with the refrigerator and
Oh, wow.
the 6x9 speakers in the top of it. And it had like the car radio in the back of it. You change the station, CD player, and all this other stuff, and the power banks. And it was like a $1,400, $1,500 box, but it was only 24 inches deep or something like that. It was a really shallow box, but I was impressed with it. Years ago, they had this out, and I was like, man, I've never seen anybody else come out with something like that.
Dang, I ain't heard that either.
Yeah. Milwaukee has a nice box that's a little bit bigger than the one that Cody just showed. It's like 1.5 times or 2 times as wide. And they have the hard wood top and stuff that comes with it, and the power banks and the deep drawers. And it's like $800, you know, and it's pretty durable. And it has the Milwaukee label, the classic red color and stuff. There's a lot of people out there that are actually making really good boxes with good warranties. But, you know, the tool guys, they're at the shop all the time. Anything goes wrong, they're going to service it right away, get parts for you right away. That's the benefit to the tool guys.
Now, my boy Limitless, he's got a Mr. Big. That motherfucker, he got every drawer filled. Quite a sight. And my coworker is just getting rid of his Cornwell, and he's getting a Mr. Big. I'm like, fuck, man.
Peer pressure, man. Peer pressure.
There's a dude on TikTok that sent me a picture of his. He for some reason, the electronics guys, the guys that do a lot of like radio installs, GPS installs, that own their own shops and stuff, they have some of the most impressive boxes that I've seen. This dude has his own electronics shop, and he's got triple snap-on, like the big one that you showed. He's got triple one. It's got a end cabinet. It's got a big bank, or like the big box that you showed, Aaron. It's got another cabinet. It's got another big box. It's got like cabinet, big box, cabinet, cabinet, big box, cabinet, cabinet, big box, cabinet. And then all of them have hutches, and they're all interlinked all across the back wall of the shop.
Unreal.
They're all attached. And he said, you're
What
looking
a
at
nightmare to move. Oh, my goodness.
this guy was like, you're looking at like almost $80,000 worth of boxes right here, all custom ordered for my electronic shop.
Holy shit.
And they cover the entire wall of one entire work section because everything he's added on and stuff. It's just absolutely crazy.
A-Rod need a GoFundMe.
All of us needs to GoFundMe.
Oh, Christ, that's funny. Well, fellas, I think we'll cut it off here. I want to thank our channel members, always keeping it real in the comments. Jake, we appreciate you coming on, hanging out with us tonight. I want to remind
Thank
you,
you for having me.
anybody who wants to get on that after show, hang out with us and BS and talk, you know, man shit.
You can see DS's feet too.
You can see DS's feet. Give me an email. I can send you over the link. I guess that's gonna be it, everybody. I thank you for watching. Check us out Friday. Friday gonna be another goodie. DS, he's not sleeping.